I was out hooping in LA. I was telling you to work out with Drew, and he works out with Joel too, and we're playing pickup. He comes in the gym right before we're starting. He's like, kid's probably not that good, so he's like kind of bullshitting. And then first game, I had like a turnaround to like win the game, and then Drew went up to him and was like basically talking shit. Drew's thing is he's talking shit to you like 24/7. So he's talking shit to Joel, and I wasn't talking shit to him. I knew better. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna turn it on. And then it's like skill and physical ability, and I think he's probably at the peak of both, especially when it comes to just like one-on-one basketball. And he turned it into a one-on-one game. We're playing pickup, and he's like, you're not allowed to double. And he put 8 people on the other side of the court, and we play one-on-one. Not a whole lot you can do in that scenario. Fadeaways, bumps. He's got all the footwork too. So that's kind of where I like realized like this is where the bar is. This is what you got to compete with every night in the NBA. And I think that was huge for me, having that experience before I got hurt, kind of figuring out where I needed to get myself to. And here we are now. We get a picture here. Let's get a picture. Yep.
Rookie sensation from the Oklahoma City Thunder, Chet Holmgren. What's up, my man?
What up? Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you coming on. It's that time of year. It's that exciting time of year, and you guys are at the very top of the standings. Coming into this season, could you have even imagined this level of success from your team?
Personally, I don't like to come into things with huge expectations, good or bad, just because it can kind of distract you from where you are and where you're trying to get to. The mindset, not only for myself, but kind of us as a collective, as a team, was, come in with the attitude to work hard and get better, knowing that we're a young team. We have a long horizon. We got a long way to go, and kind of take the challenges and adversity and the success and just kind of just roll with it, not let it kind of change the path that we're trying to go on.
But in training camp, when you got this team together, and obviously you watched from afar last year, but you were in the gym and you were around the team throughout the season, could you see that it was an evolution from last year, that there potentially was more success than maybe people on the outside were imagining you guys were going to have?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had the utmost confidence in the dudes we had in the gym. I was watching these guys hoop all summer, hooping with them, working out with them, and obviously you could see the talent was there the year before, but the hard work that they put in, as well as myself, over the summer, you could kind of see the leaps that everybody was taking. And then once we got in training camp and we kind of saw everything coming together, it was like, yeah, we got something special going on.
There was a graphic that I saw on Instagram, and it was about the fact that you had missed every game last year. And at the time that I had called you, you had not missed a single game this year. In the same vein, what was your expectation for yourself? Because this is also your rookie year, and you're coming off an entire year of missing the game. What could you have imagined for yourself, and have you blown past those expectations?
I mean, I just knew I was going to come in with the utmost gratitude to play basketball. Kev's probably told you, like, I'm in the gym every day. You can rely on me to be there. It's like pickups tomorrow at 10. I'm going to be there. You don't even got to be like, where's Chet? I'm there at 8:30, 8:45, and I just tried to bring that mindset into the season. Like, I want to play every game. I want to compete on every single possession. What I have learned is, 82 games, it's a grind, it's a mother for sure. But I've just tried to keep that mindset and that gratitude, and it's really helped me to this point where it's like, I might wake up sick one day, or, my ankle might hurt from being twisted in the last game, but it's like, if I can go out there, I feel like I can help our team win. I'm gonna go out there and give it what I got.
Were there points last year where, even though you knew what the prognosis was and you were sitting the year out, where you almost like looked over at Coach or at Sam and, I want to get out there this year? Or had you checked out and already knew that you had to go a whole season?
There was a point where I was like, I can do more than I'm doing. Like, I'm good. I feel great. I feel healthy. But we did a great job of sitting down early on and putting together a plan and finding an understanding. And, I kind of found the maturity to follow the plan. And as, frustrating as it got for myself, as somebody, I want to play. But following the plan, knowing that it's bigger than me. There's a whole organization of moving parts and, not kind of jamming everything up by trying to, force my wants into things. But, I feel like the plan that we put together has worked great up to this point, and it's not over. There's a long way to go for myself and the team and the organization, and we're going to continue to work on that.
When Kevin missed the year with an Achilles injury, and even more the almost full season that he missed when he was in Oklahoma, he talked about how he questioned who he was without the game, and he questioned if he was ever going to be the same player he was going to be. But I would imagine that that's got to be a different emotion when you're 20 years old. But getting drafted, your dreams coming true, and then all of a sudden you got to halt it and wait a whole year. What did it do to you mentally, having to sit out for a year?
Man, it was rough. It wasn't, it wasn't all good days. It wasn't all bad days. But I definitely had a whole lot of different thoughts. It was like a roller coaster. Playing in a season is a roller coaster. Not playing in a season is a roller coaster. I was so used to my whole life. I just wake up and play basketball. It never been taken away from me for any period of time, really. And, not having it. And then being told to, go home and sit down because, doing too much is not helping. So I really kind of had to come to an understanding that of how much basketball is to my life. I got injured this year. I'm missing a season, but my career is still extremely long. If I do what I'm supposed to do, take care of my body the right way, I still got another 15 plus whatever years in this. I feel like I can play as long as I want. And so I never really had thoughts of what am I going to do after basketball? It was how do I get back to doing basketball? But that didn't make it any easier because, I'm still doing all my rehab, my workouts, and then it's I can't do that 24 hours a day. Now it's go home. I'm in a new city. Got to find stuff to do. Hopped on the game. Ended up getting a dog, which can be a handful at times, especially now that I'm back playing. But, I got some good people around me helping out with all that stuff, helping take care of everything. But, shout out to my dog for sure.
I feel like every player gets a dog at one point and early on. It's part of the process.
I don't know what it is, but almost everybody on our team has a dog. So it's it might be the being in a new city type thing. Maybe we're all just dog people. I don't know, but it's great to have a dog around. Whether you score 40 or go 2 for 15, you go home, your dog's jumping when you walk through the door, all the same way. So, it can be comforting, and on top of that, I just like having fun with my dog. So
a lot of times players allude to the fact that when they're away from the game, they found a way to get better and to see the game in a different way. A lot of times it's a player that had played for a long time and then had that moment where they had to get away from it. Did you feel like you even evolved your game somewhat, or watched the game in a different way, or got a feel for the speed of the NBA?
I definitely do. I think the biggest thing for me was I had to take a whole year back from playing 5-on-5. Because when you're playing a game, it's there's so many ways to impact winning that you have to focus on outside of just yourself with the basketball in your hands. And when you're taking a year back from that, it's all I can. I'm working out myself, So it's you get a whole year to kind of work on your skills. So I was working on my ability to shoot, to handle, to my big thing I think was kind of playing in the mid range and attacking with the ball in my hands, and then being able to watch all that shit up close from Shai. I watched 80 games of Shai doing that, and then all the other dudes that we're playing against who mastered it, and being able to take things from them, I feel like it's huge. But I don't think it equated to playing 82 games, because it's when you play the games, you can take that film, go back and watch it and be this is what I got to work on. I didn't know what I had to work on. I was just working on, it's I saw this move, I liked it, I tried to add it to my game, not knowing. There was no trial and error. It was all trial, I'm just out there working out. just really trying to keep the joy of it. That's one thing when you're working out. I love that part. I don't know, not everybody probably loves just working out, but I love just working out on top of playing too.
Do you see your game improving throughout this season?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I see there's stuff that I was doing in game one that was working that I don't even do today because, like, it works in game one. People aren't just going to let you keep doing it. So it's like now they scouted it. They know, he's going to drive, he's going to spin, he's going to sweep up through the arms, try and draw a foul. So it's like I can't do that anymore because, now that backside defender, he's spinning, they're trapping the turn, they're coming to get the ball. So it's like, can't do that no more. What's the counter to that? Okay, half spin, come back. So it's like just it's like a game of cat and mouse. There's some things that like I'm sure Kev knows, it tells you all the time. Like there's some things defense just can't do anything about. You put a smaller guy on somebody bigger, they can shoot over the top. It doesn't matter how much you scout that, it's going to work. So trying to figure out different things that, I can get to no matter what, and then also kind of play that cat and mouse game of this is what on the scouting report, so this is what I got to do to kind of counter that.
The thing about your team is I think people have fallen in love with, the OKC mob and the way you guys after games surround each other during the post-game interview, barking, revving each other up, and you can see that this team really loves each other and that you guys are really all one. Is it as good as it seems? Is the chemistry amongst you guys something like you've never experienced before?
Everything I've been told is like we're definitely unique in NBA. NBA teams aren't like this because it's like a hierarchy. You got the vet dudes with max contracts under their belt, this ego and that ego, and then you got dudes on two ways who are trying to just make it in the league, and it's like it's hard for them to interact and really kind of have the same understanding on the same level. But like we're also young, we're also fresh in the league, and on top of that we got dudes who are so humble and bought in, and everybody's about each other, and when you have a locker room like that, it kind of permeates, and I feel like that's what we have, which is great. Credit to Sam for putting the right guys in the locker room too. That's not possible without the right guys. It doesn't just kind of happen without that. We also live in like a hater culture. I don't get it, but people call it corny when we support each other, which I don't get. And we don't really care. We're gonna keep doing it. So
I love it, man. And this, I'm not forcing this when I say this, but the last time I ever saw a team that gave off that feel where people rallied around them, where the fact that they were so young was what made them special, was guess what team?
2012 OKC.
OKC
yeah.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Is that team a presence in OKC? Does that shadow at all exist? Do you guys look at that era or don't look at that era?
I definitely feel like with the people who are old enough in the Thunder fan base to have been through that era and been fans of that era, has stuck to them. They haven't like forgotten about it, which is hard to do because they did some great things. But like what we're doing now, what we're trying to do, I feel like is definitely bringing back like a nostalgic effect on that kind of group of the fan base where it's like we missed this. This is what the Thunder really is about. So we're just trying to bring that back. There's a winning culture in the city, and they did it first. They kind of paved the way, set the standard, and we're trying to uphold that.
Is there somebody in your mind, I look at that time, James coming off the bench, then went on to be one of the most incredible scorers of any generation.
Yeah.
Is there a player in your team you think in some ways has compromised for the team?
I don't think there's a single person on the team who is more about them than trying to win. Everybody's bought in. Obviously, everybody has a different role. Everybody has different skill sets, abilities. Credit to coach and the staff for kind of meshing them all together and trying to come up with like the perfect combination. I still don't think we're there. We still have so much to work on as individuals, as a team, and figure so many things out. And we still haven't run into all the challenges we need to run into to figure those things out. Teams are like just now starting to throw different looks at us, coverages, because, when you're not a good team, teams just throw the base coverage at you. It's like, this is what we do every night, and we're still good enough to beat you doing it. Once a team doesn't think they can beat you doing what they normally do, they're going to throw different things at you to try and throw you off your rhythm. And we're just now seeing all that stuff, and we're like trying to adjust and learn as a team, as a coaching staff. Like Mark's young, we got a young coaching staff too. We're all figuring this thing out, and I think the fact that we're all bought into doing it together is going to like help accelerate it for us.
So I know you won't do this, so I'll do this for you. If I was looking at the Rookie of the Year, I would say that the one thing that has to be taken into account is that, like you said, everyone's compromised their game a bit. You've had to be a leader. Everyone's had to be a leader because there's no real OG, and you guys have a real opportunity to win a championship. And that has to play into the Rookie of the Year thinking, right? Obviously, Wembanyama has put up staggering numbers, has done staggering things. The story has been as loud as any story could be. Does that motivate you? Do you worry about the Rookie of the Year? I know your answer will be no, but do you feel like you should be the Rookie of the Year?
I feel like that's a loaded question.
It's definitely a loaded question.
Yeah, it's definitely a loaded question. I mean, first of all credit to Wemby and what he's doing. Having the argument of, winning versus not winning versus sacrificing for the team versus having more opportunity versus having, what some might think higher level players on the team versus not. That doesn't discredit what he's doing. None of it should discredit what I'm doing. I think, first of all, we're both having great years. But at the end of the day, I think the voting is in the eye of the beholder. The input from our seasons is going to be what they judge it on, and, that's what it's going to be. At the end of the day, whenever that does happen, win, lose, draw, whatever, like, the focus at the end of the day is still going to be on our season, hopefully continuing on, and, what I got to do to help our team, continue with where they're trying to go.
Magic and Bird, Jordan and Magic, LeBron and KD, these matchups mean something to the game. Obviously, Wemby's had an incredible year. Like we said, you've had an incredible year. But do you get up for those matchups? Do you start seeing a future in which some of these matchups will be fun and will be competitive and will challenge you for the rest of your career?
I mean, they have been so far, and I'm sure that's going to continue on, not just between me and him, but like other good players in the league. This is the NBA. It's high-level basketball every night, and you got to come prepared. You're going through the motions one night, you're bullshitting, you're going to get embarrassed. So it's like you got to show up and be ready to, kind of put on a show, if that makes sense.
I'm going to read you some numbers that will be staggering to you. You were 13 months old when LeBron was drafted.
Yeah.
You were 7 when LeBron won MVP. You were 10 years old when OKC went to the finals, and 13 years old when Steph won his first championship. How crazy is it for you growing up watching these guys and playing against them on a nightly basis now?
I mean, I think about it all the time. It's crazy. Like, I started watching my first year watching NBA basketball was like LeBron versus Dirk in the finals. And then the next year, it's Bron, KD in the finals. And that's kind of what really got me into basketball. Now these dudes are like my matchups on, Tuesday afternoons in the middle of December. Like, it's one of those things that kind of brings even more joy into the game for me. Now being able to compete against those dudes is what it's all about. I have fun every time I go up against these dudes, and you really got to cherish that because you don't know how much longer they'll be playing, and or how much longer you could even be playing. I don't take it for granted, but I definitely hope it's a long time.
LeBron may play longer than everybody.
He may lap you at the end.
Yeah. He might play till there's no more NBA. Who knows?
Who'd you root for in the Heat Thunder championship in 2012?
Me and all my teammates and stuff, we were all on the Thunder bandwagon just because, like, they were young, we were young, they were the new hot thing, so we were following them, definitely on the bandwagon with that one.
Who did you model your game after, or who did you watch growing up that you thought, like, okay, this is somebody, if I keep my eye on them, this could probably help my game at some point in my career?
Yeah, like, I was a hoops junkie growing up once I really got into watching basketball, so I'd, like, be on YouTube watching all the highlights, be watching games and stuff. And I wasn't watching like just one person. It was more of like an archetype, I guess, like the taller skill guys from like Dirk to Kev to T-Mac, like these dudes who had the size, but they weren't in the NBA because they were tall. You know, they were in the NBA because of what they could do with the pill, and you know, watching them. And then I go to the park and try and do all the same shit, and over time, kind of develop like the same tall skill archetype. But you know, I got a long ways to go. I got a lot more I want to add.
I saw you shot up to 6'9" in the 9th grade or something, right?
So in 8th grade, I went from 6'2" to 6'8" by the end of the school year.
But your generation, they didn't say you're the center or go play down on the block, or did you have to fight that a bit?
There's two sides to that. So like when I started playing basketball, I ended up getting in with the right coaches, right people knew what they were doing, and they saw the direction basketball was going, where it's like everybody's got to be able to do things with the ball in their hand, make decisions, handle, shoot, skill. Like if you can play defense and you can shoot the ball, you can be on pretty much any court. Those are two things that are universally needed. So like that's where you start, and then you build out from there. It's like, don't box somebody in. And like they're looking at me, they're like, he's not going to be Shaq. So like we're not going to predicate his game on going and being bigger and dunking on everybody. So, you know, definitely had to rely a lot on skill at times. Being as tall as I am, it definitely has physical advantages like blocking shots, rim protection and stuff. So you definitely have to kind of fight that balance between playing more guardish on offense, playing more biggish on defense. You know, like usually wherever you are on one side of the ball, that's where you get put on the other side of the ball. So it's like kind of weird, a weird dynamic that I've had to carve out for myself.
And you talked about like you're not Shaq, right? So the game has evolved. You grew up in an evolved game. And now there's very few pass first point guards. Like you don't have many traditional big men. Where do you see when players like you and Victor and even the way Luka's controlling the game, where do you see the game evolving? Like what changes could you imagine happening 5-10 years in the league?
Man, I think the limit is just dependent on what type of athletes are born into the world. I mean, if there's 450 Giannis's born in the world, there's going to be 450 Giannis's in the NBA. I mean, because there's going to be a peak to where the skill can grow to, and the rest of it's just going to depend on what type of body is, you know, bringing that skill out. And we see it now, bigger guys handling from Luka, 6'9". Obviously, Wemby's huge. I'm 7-something in my own right. Kev, 7 feet. You know, all these guys, like I said, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, like, it's just like an involvement of skill. But once that peaks out, it's going to just depend on, you know, what type of athletes can develop that skill.
I know for Kevin, and I think about this a lot with guys that are built like you and Victor and Kevin. So a lot of times people want to harp on, he's got to put more muscle on. He's got to put more weight on his body. And, you know, look at Kevin now in year 17. I mean, he's bigger. He's a grown man, but he never turned into that guy. I mean, his game was predicated on how he's built. Do you feel like that's the same for you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a balance between, again, your skill and your physical ability. If your physical ability is taking away from your skill, like your first step is this, and now you put on a bunch of weight and you don't got that first step anymore, or you can't move, you can't slide your feet, you can't jump quick. You know, there's a point where just like getting big is gonna hurt you, especially for a slender guy like myself. Like, yeah, sure, I could go and get massive shoulders and stuff, but like, what's it really gonna do for me? It's gonna make me not jump as quick. It's gonna make me not move as quick. And those are some of my advantages, being able to be rangy on the court and move my feet, stay in front of guys, you know, meet guys up top. You know, if I sacrifice that for some mass, like, is it really worth it? So I think the more important thing is just getting stronger, especially when you're a young player in the NBA. Everybody's got to get stronger. And like you said, Kev's a grown man now, different than when he came into the NBA. It's going to be a similar situation for any rookie coming into the league. You know, got to get stronger, but not necessarily sacrifice what you have going for what might or might not work.
Yeah, for who you are.
Yeah.
So we talked about the idea of like growing up in an era where you're watching LeBron, Kevin, and Steph. Those ages were staggering to think about the idea that you were 13 months old when LeBron was drafted and now you're playing in the league with him. But you also grew up in an era different than those guys where not only were you watching their success on court, but you saw what they were doing off court. And so much so that you grew up probably only seeing that these guys, when they reach that level, also build these enterprises for themselves. Growing up, was that something you also had as part of the dream? The dream is, I want to make it in the league, I want a signature shoe. But did you feel like this generation is coming into the NBA now thinking, all right, I'm also trying to keep my eye on what I can build for myself and what I can create?
Yeah, 100%. I think everything that they've been doing is just kind of opening up an understanding for everybody of what's possible. And like, if I didn't think that was an option, I wouldn't be like looking into it, like paying attention, following along. And I think like the media space that we have now, where there's access to so much and knowledge, and you can follow this person and what they're doing so much easier. I think that's been huge too, because it's like, if we were in the 80s or 90s, I'm only seeing the game on TV or the game that got recorded on the DVR. I don't even know what that is anymore. But
DVR.
yes, it's something. But like, I wouldn't be able to follow what so-and-so is doing off the court because like there's no access to, unless some beat writers write an article about it. But then again, that's not the same. Like, I grew up, I'm seeing on social media and everything what LeBron's doing with Uninterrupted and what you and Kevin been doing with Boardroom and watching what you guys are doing, how you're doing it, and like how it's impacting people. And that kind of opened up a understanding for me. Like, early on, I wanted to learn about the business side of things too. And I feel like I was in the perfect timing. Like, my first year in college, my only year in college was the first year of NIL. So like, I got a jump start into the whole business world of how things worked before I even got to the NBA. And now it's just like understanding how much power we have as players and brands. I'd be silly not to look into that and want to make something of that. But I also understand at the same time, like, none of that means if I don't handle my basketball business on this end. So, I know what comes first, but I also know that there's kind of more to it to explore.
And, you're in the best organization for that because I think, Sam had experience with one group of young guys, and you see the way all of you guys are together. In a lot of ways, all of you guys are not just encountering on the court at the same time, you're encountering off the court. Yourself and Shai and J-Dub, these are the same type of opportunities and experiences. Is there sharing of that in the locker room a bit? Do you guys talk? I know two of you guys did a spot together, but is that part of the convo in the locker room?
Yeah, to an extent. Obviously, business ventures can be, personal or individual at times, and there's definitely a fine line between sharing that and flaunting that, and nobody wants to come off the wrong way, but like, we'll sit down and talk about things that we're doing, and we'll be like, oh, that's dope. I didn't even think to do something like that. I want to get in on something like that. It kind of goes to show, like, we truly do have a caring for each other, and everybody's trying to look out.
You guys can get in the gym in the summer, share ideas for how to work on your game on court, but share ideas on how to work together off the court. And I think that's incredible. What allows you guys that kind of ability is that these contracts are so crazy now, and when players are younger, a lot of times that marketing money was money that, you needed to be able to make to continue to live. So you could save your money that you made with your contract. Now you guys, and the contracts continue to go up, you can have a certain level of patience. And what always amazed me when I first met you was, like, you are very inquisitive, you're very curious, you seem to be a student of everything, a student of life, a student of the game, student of business. Do you feel less pressure maybe now because of, the money on court, to not look at every brand deal and to be able to pick and choose what you want to do, because that these opportunities will continue to come?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know that the difference between me taking care of my family isn't going to be like doing one more commercial or something, you know? So it's definitely more strategic and more about, can I fit this into my time and still be able to handle all my basketball stuff as well? You know, it also helps you really focus in on what comes first, which is basketball, knowing that, you know, if you handle your business and you have a long career, you know, you can get a few of those good contracts under your belt. You know, I've never played basketball for money. Like, I'd wake up and do this for free every day. But, you know, to know that you can take care of your family and, you know, the people around you and, you know, set up your life by playing essentially a kid's game is crazy. So I don't take that for granted, and, you know, I have a great understanding of that. And you know, the business side is just like another thing that I think is fun, and you know, I want to get into for the passion of it, not necessarily like what I can get out of it, if that makes sense.
You guys realize how exciting this opportunity is, the amount of young talent you have, and I'm sure as a basketball savant, you're aware of the stockpile of draft picks Sam has, and it's exciting time, man. Do you guys feel how exciting this is and this franchise is?
Yeah, 100%. We know we're young, and we don't take that for granted, because it doesn't matter if you're young or not. This is the NBA. Things change like that. So your window is your window. You don't know when it starts. You don't know when it ends. So we're trying to take advantage of every opportunity that we have today, tomorrow, the day after that, and kind of stay where our feet are and figure it out now. And I feel like if we do that, then we'll be able to look back whenever it does end and be like, you know, we made the most out of what we had going. And, you know, I'm excited to see what that is.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Trooping it on the roof of our boardroom offices.
Yes, sir.
On a cold New York night. This is Boardroom Talks, Boardroom Cover Story with Chet Holmgren. Hope you guys download, subscribe, log on, and we'll see you soon, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.